to see you again.
Greg, great to be back.
Well, you knew you were facing the best team you'd seen this season. From a special teams and defensive ends perspective, what were kind of your main talking points going into this one?
Yeah, just like me and you talked about all last week, we talked about average starting field position. We knew that this was a team that was one of the top teams in the country at their offense starting with great field position. Yeah. And so I think their average was like the 41 or 36 yard
36 yard line, yeah.
And so, which is a big number for an offense. And so we knew and we felt that if we could make them drive the football, that eventually they would wear down, and because they weren't used to that. And so if we could start with great field position, get our defense to be able to have long fields to defend, that we could be able to play or beat them at their own game. Well, that didn't happen. So we played one of our worst games as far as average starting field position goes as we go, because we had been pretty good ourselves this year. So, and then defensive end wise, we just felt like we could be able to stop the run. We felt like we matched up really good against their tight ends and tackles in the run game. We felt like we could be able to get after the quarterback, which we showed really early in the first half. And so I felt like if we could have continued to control the game and stay closer, that we would have been able to get them more in passing situations and continue to do that in the second half, but that it just didn't fold out that way.
It was a game where conditions, actually, I think were an issue. Winds from 20 to 30 miles per hour all day. They were bringing in a cold front. Things got colder on Sunday. The wind, probably a factor on Sam Vanderhaar's first punt of the day. How much do you think conditions did play into things?
Yeah, I mean, I never want to use that as an excuse, and I always tell the specialists between the kicker, the punter, and the returners, like, wind can never be an issue, and or never be an excuse, even though it might be a determinant in what happened. But yeah, they won the toss, and good for them. They had the wind to their back in the first quarter, and it helped them. It helped them on this play right here, where we shake one out of bounds.
We don't see that from Sam.
Yeah. So I was just telling you before the show started, I've never seen Sam shank a punt ever in practice, in game. That was the first time I've ever seen him do it. He does it twice. So, unfortunately, yeah, we didn't perform well. And it's when you, as a coach, you're always frustrated when things are under, you have control of something. And in that game, it felt like they didn't do anything to affect Sam's punt. It's not like they were bringing pressure where all of a sudden he shanks a punt, or, they weren't putting on pressure, when Parker muffed the punt, he just muffed the punt. So it's just things that were in our control that we could have completely changed the game by just doing our job. And unfortunately, we just didn't put our, best foot forward in those situations. So.
Yeah, you reiterated a moment ago, Texas Tech was leading the nation in offensive average starting field position, and their first drive starts at their own 40-yard line. But yet there was great, excellent defense from BYU to open the game. Their first series went 3 and out for minus 17 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, and they start with a false start. That backs them up, and then we get a sack on third down. Big play by Ciale, and then, we're thinking, man, we got all the momentum, and then all of a sudden they go to kick the ball and, punt the ball, and they had the wind to their back, and, unfortunately Parker just couldn't field the ball. And
yeah, so on this, because now it's his first punt handling the wind, it was strong enough. Was he maybe not back far enough? Because he's backpedaling the whole way here.
Yeah, and we always tell them, punters are punting with the wind to be able to back up a little bit more. And I don't know if he was back as far enough as he should have been. Looks like he's backpedaling a little bit. But if you go back, I don't know if they can go back, but that video or that angle right there, the camera just showed Parker's eyes. He's supposed to look early, not late. And I think, he's looking up for the ball and he looks down for the split second, which he's told not to do and taught not to do. But it's really hard that nobody's, if you haven't been in that position as a punt returner, it's really hard to say, okay, I'm not going to look down as this guy's running, 100 miles an hour at me to take my head off, to not take my eyes off. But he's got to trust that he can catch the ball cleanly, hopefully make a move, or if he feels uncomfortable, he always has that fair catch signal to protect himself. And so, in that situation, I think Parker was thinking, I want to make a play.
And you're hoping you're close enough to the sidelines that it gets out of bounds, but it didn't.
And, and we teach our guys too as well, like he outkicked his coverage right there. So if he catches that ball cleanly, and we have a chance to set up a really good return because he's outkicked his coverage. If he kicks that ball normal around 45 yards, Parker probably has to fair catch that. But because he kicks at 60 yards, now we have an extra 5 to 10 yard buffer that now we can set up a return. And actually, that's what we prefer. We want them to outkick their coverage and just, he doesn't catch the ball cleanly right there. And then, our defense is on the field with bad field position.
Oh, that's crazy. The first two opportunities to make a play on special teams, and you get things you don't normally see.
Yeah, and that's, totally different than anything we've seen over the past 2 years. We've been so good on special teams, and our guys have performed really, really well.
Yeah.
And that's just so uncharacteristic, especially this year. I think this year, I was just looking at it before we came. This was our 9th game. In our first 8 games, we have 10 goals that we go for every single game, and we had reached 8 of 10 of our goals, at least 8 of our goals in every game this season. This was
what was the number?
4 of 10.
4.
So that just goes to show the performance that we had on special teams. And, Kalani came into the staff meeting today and just, talked about it. Like, defensively, probably performed up to par, and special teams and offense, we can do better.
Yeah. Well, we just saw the play that sets Texas Tech up. But again, the defense responds, right? It's a 1st and 10 at your 17. They get back up to a 4th and 22 now from the 29. They do get a 47-yard field goal to open the scoring. But again, you almost felt, okay, we managed this here.
Yeah, and great job by the defense. And Coach Hill called the pressure on 3rd down. And, man, I thought we got a sack to get them out of field goal range. And their kicker ended up having a great day. So props to them. Other teams have great players too as well, especially top 10 teams. And so, ends up being 5 for 5 on the game, and that was probably the biggest one of the game right there to start off getting them up on the board. But man, I thought that sack right there was a huge play, and for us to be able to hold with that field position, because most teams get in that situation, and a team with not the right mindset, they go out there and they give up a touchdown right there. So to hold them to a field goal was a big time deal.
Good bounce back by Sam, by the way. I think the next time you get the ball on offense ends up being a chance to punt and pin. I think it ends up being punted down to the 8-yard line. So it was a good bounce back from Sam here.
Yeah, and they brought pressure, and Sam ends up getting the ball out on time and makes a great kick inside the 10-yard line right there. But we were a little shady with our protection right there. We could have been better. There was a couple things that we could have done. Glasgow could have helped out Bodie a little bit. Anyway, we'll get that fixed in our meeting today. The look that we've seen a lot, but sometimes you guys, we get out there and we see the pressure and guys get a little amped up of what they need to do. But yeah, they came close, and really in a situation where they shouldn't have come close. We had 5 guys to protect. They were only bringing 5 guys. But we'll get that cleaned up in our meeting today. And we cleaned it up on the sideline, with these videos now that we're able to show them during the game, and it's able to fix it. And they never came back to it, but we would have been ready for it. And really a very similar look that we practiced during the week. But Sam did a great job getting the ball inside the 10, and now our defense has great field position. And this is what we wanted them to do the whole game.
Right.
Even if they had to drive the whole field, we just felt consistently over and over again that it was going to be hard for them to do that the whole entire game.
They did go 92 yards for a touchdown to make it 10-0, but it's what you wanted to force them into. The ensuing BYU possession gets you into Tech territory for the only time in the first half, as it turned out. So you're looking for some kind of points just to make it a 1-score game. Will gets a look from 51, wind at his back, so distance wasn't really a worry here.
Yeah, no, we felt like kicking that way, Will was going to be able to kick it from 60. And pregame, he was out there kicking the ball, and you can just see the flight of the ball on this. Will just didn't make good contact on the ball. And so you can always tell if a kick is really end over end, clean end over end kicking. And that just had a little tilt to it, and so he just mishit it. And so, and he came right off and just told me, he said, "Coach, I just didn't make good contact with the ball." So that's going to be a focus for him this week, is just contact with the ball and making sure there's that good flight end over end. Because if he hits that cleanly, it doesn't matter what type of wind, because the wind was pushing the ball left the whole game. The ball was going that way towards our sideline.
Yeah.
And so, he felt like he had it aimed right. He just said he just didn't hit it clean.
Got it. Got to 13-0 after a Texas Tech field goal drive following that field goal miss. The ensuing Texas Tech kickoff, I don't know, did it have Cody a little off balance as he considered whether or not to return the kick?
Yeah, it's just, kind of those.
Because it bounced in the field of play, and he's in the end zone,
and so we felt great. Now they're kicking into the wind, and so we're feeling okay. We're going to get a return here, and we felt like we had a really good return set up against their kickoff cover team, which was very good. But the sun was right in his eyes, and he just said he misjudged it, but.
What's the right call there then?
Yeah, he needs to take a knee because the ball bounces into the end zone, and so I think he just kind of misjudged where he was at, because right there he catches the ball. He should have taken a knee. We get the ball at the 25-yard line, and so just like over and over again now, that's 4 uncharacteristic things by some.
And that's a minus 10-yard field position situation there, right?
Just, that's the thing that's really unfortunate is Sam's one of our best players, Will's one of our best players, Cody's one of our best players,
Parker on punt return.
It's like our 4 of some of our best players that just are not making good decisions and performing at the level that they need to perform. And, it happens sometimes. And so we got to get it fixed so it doesn't happen again this Saturday.
So after Cody's return there, you're backed up to the 15. Get the ball out to the 34 before punting. Now time's running out in the second quarter. Tech had to punt on a 4th and 13. And they end up with a 61-yard punt into the wind, by the way, on which you had something dialed up.
Yeah,
what was happening here?
We had a little fake return where we were going to use Parker as a decoy, which we did. And as you watch the film right here, the majority of their guys, their cover guys, you watch all the white jerseys, they start to go to Parker. And I think it was Morey that needed a block. That guy missed his block on that, but it's a return that we've used in the past, and you can see Evan down here at the bottom of the screen. Mm-hmm. If that ball is kicked at 40-45, where this guy's been kicking it all year, especially into
and this is into the wind, yes.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it was one of those days, whatever we called, it just wasn't going our way, especially in the first half there. And then things kind of calmed down for us, special teams wise, in the second half. But that was just something we felt like they were a directional kick team into the boundary, and we felt like in that situation we could pull Parker. You know, he's a decoy, he's a good player. We knew the attention was going to go his way, which it did. We would have had to make a block there with Morey's guy, and Evan would have been up the sideline right there, probably for a game-changing big return or even a touchdown.
Yeah. BYU ended up going 3 and out on offense when they did get the ball. So Texas Tech decides not to take the points. They went for it, 4th and goal from the 2 right before halftime. End zone pass broken up. Great job by Rader. And so now you're down 13-0. And as rough as things have gone, we've just detailed a few of them, right? It's a 2-score game. You've been down at halftime before. What were you guys thinking going into half?
Yeah, just like you said, I think we felt like being down 13-0, I mean, that's 2 possessions. That's easy. Like, we've done that before.
Yes.
We've been down 14-0 this year, down 24-10 at Iowa State. And so we felt like we felt in great shape, especially the way the defense was playing. And we're just like, all right, fix a couple things here on special teams and offense, get this thing rolling in the second half, and we have a chance to do something special, but it just never could get it going.
By the way, it is the smallest victory margin for Texas Tech on the season. They'd won every game this year by 23 or more, so there is that. Cougs now 8-1 on the season, 5-1 in the Big 12, ranked 12th in both the major polls. The new CFP rankings come out tomorrow. So we were talking as we went into our commercial break, down 13-0 at halftime. You feel all right about it, not great about it, but you've done this before coming back. And Texas Tech takes the opening kickoff to start the second half. As a defense, you're thinking, just get the offense the ball back. Let's make it a ball game here.
Yeah,
here we go.
Exactly, and that was the whole talk to our guys. Is we felt like we had played pretty good defensively. Really, the one drive they had early in the first quarter or late in the first quarter. I mean, Evan has a chance to get an interception right there where he could have changed the whole thing, and I'm sure maybe we'll hit that with Coach Hill. But we have a chance right there to pick the ball and go the other direction on that drive. But other than that, we get short fields, holding the field goals. We feel really good. And we told them, hey, guys, we go 3 and out right here. We're going to set this thing up for our offense to come out and do their thing. And at the end of the day, that's all we can control. We can control what the defense can control. Special teams the same way. Can't worry about what the offense is doing, what other people are doing. Just do our job.
Texas Tech had the ball for only a minute. They did go 3 and out to open the second half. BYU has to punt on its opening drive of the second half. Sam Vanderhaar really got into one with the wind at his back. 69-yarder. Only the end zone kept it from being a record setter for Sam. His record 70, but a 69-yard punt for Sam Vanderhaar early in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was great to flip field position right there and get them backed up again. And in that situation, too, I thought the ball was going to check up right here, too, as well.
Would have been nice.
Cannon Skidmore he's trying really hard if that ball does bounce, but I love the effort from Cannon right there, and really good kick, for Sam to come back after, what happened there in the first quarter. But yeah, that's a game-changing play right there. 70-yard punt, 50, ends up being a 49-yard net for us right there. So we'll take that anytime. And
it was a game where the wind just didn't stop. It was a gusty day all day long.
Yeah, and we knew that going into the game. We knew the forecast, and I always tell all the specialists, guys, it doesn't matter what the wind's going to be. It can't be an excuse. We got to be aware of it, right? We got to adjust, but it never should be anything that we're too worried about. And maybe we had a little too much worry about that in the first half.
BYU did a nice job all day at forcing Texas Tech into field goals. I mean, they got into the red zone a lot on Saturday, and the defense really stood tall. Their guy, Stone Harrington, he's a good kicker. 5 for 5 on his tries. That's a Texas Tech record, by the way. So you tip your cap to the other specialists. They did a nice job doing what they had to do.
Yeah, and we, as a defense, you always talk about how field goals should not be able to beat you. And so anytime they're, I think I told you guys this before, we have a goal as a defense when they're in the red zone, it's 3 or nothing. And we held pretty true to that throughout the game. I think there were 2 for 7 in the red zone and for touchdowns, which is incredible. Anything less than 50% is really, really good. Mm-hmm. And so to be 2 for 7 in the game, I thought was exceptional for our guys, especially with the field position and their backs against the wall. Most of those times it was alpha turnovers or special teams plays that were putting us in those situations. So I was happy for our defense.
BYU was down to 19-0 as we got toward the end of the third quarter. It was a 4th and 7 for the offense near midfield, and there was a decision time now. Do you punt it and try and pin, or do you maybe, game's getting late, try and go for it near midfield? The decision came to punt and pin.
Yeah, and man, I think that came after a timeout, if I remember correctly, or maybe
it was an end of quarter break. Yeah,
and I think we really wanted to go for it, but really what the deciding factor was is the sun was right in his eyes. So the goal of this was to put the ball up.
The returner's eyes.
The returner's eyes,
yeah.
Yes, to put the ball really high up in the air, and to hopefully have something happen that happened to Cody earlier in the game. So going the same direction, we thought, okay, Sam, put this ball way up in the air. He felt good about it. We were kicking into the wind right there, so we felt like there was a chance that the ball was going to be turned or flipped a different way for that returner to have to field the ball. And yeah, he mishit it again. So unfortunately, that, like I said, I haven't seen him do it once in the 2 years that I've been with him, and he does it twice in less than 2 hours. So just something that we'll fix. I know Sam will get it fixed. Sam's a super hard worker. He was really hard on himself after the game, and I know he'll get better from it.
Texas Tech went 80 yards for a touchdown that kind of put the game out of reach. BYU did answer with a touchdown to make it 26-7. Went for 2 initially, but a PI meant a long PAT. Actually, Will converts a long PAT, for his 105th in a row. That extends his BYU record. But yeah, kind of a mixed bag for Will on the day. He wish he would have had more work, obviously, than he got.
Yeah, Will. Yeah, I think in that situation too, he's going out there thinking, oh man, to keep my streak going, I got to kick this 30-yard, PAT, whatever it ended up being. But he hit that solid, hit it clean, ball went right through the uprights, protection was great on it. And so, Will's been one of our best players on our whole entire team over the past 2 years. And so, we got it, obviously as the offense goes, he goes. And, I would just wish earlier in the game he would have hit a cleaner ball, because I think that does change the perspective of the whole game.
Texas Tech would add a field goal late to make the final score 29-7. Tough day for BYU. Really a day where just wasn't enough complementary football. You could argue the defense kind of kept BYU where it needed to be, and then the other two phases didn't have their best days. Yeah,
we felt that was the battle of the game. The battle was complementary football. Two teams that had played great complementary football throughout the year. Their statistics were almost exactly the same as ours as far as complementary football was concerned and average starting field position. So we just felt like the team that's going to win this game is the team that wins the average starting field position, and sure enough, they ended up plus 18. I think it was 41-yard line.
We had officially post game 42 and 23, so we had minus 19 in average starting field. Maybe it ended up being 18 on adjustment, but either way, it's a big number.
Yeah, I did think that might be the biggest number that I've ever been involved in, and so that's not winning football right there. And so we got to get that fixed, because this TCU team that's coming in is going to, they're good. They got good athletes, they got good returners, good kick game. So that's going to be the starting point of playing that complementary football again.
So minus 18, minus 19 yards, that's a tough number to overcome an average starting field position margin. The other number tough to overcome is minus 3 in turnover margin.
Yeah, and that goes hand in hand. Between the kicking game and turnover margin, that gives you your number for the average starting field position. And two of those turnovers, the muff punt was on the 20, and then one of the fumbles, the
backward pass,
the interception, I think. Well, shoot, maybe all three of them were actually in that situation.
One was just outside. One was at the 25. The other two were inside the 20.
Yeah, so all three of them were on their side, and that's never good. That happened that way, and so they had great field position all game long, and props to them. You got to give them credit. They got great coaches. I think they have a great team, but we just didn't play our best ball, and so hopefully we get our chance to play those guys again. But we got to take care of business this week.
Tough day for the special teams unit generally, but there's always positives to find, and you went and found Kevin Doe's performance in game film on Saturday to be to your liking.
Yeah, Kevin did a great job. He ran down on kickoff a couple times, and I thought looked good, but his holdups on punt return, he was owning his guy, and then also on punt as a gunner, he was clean on his wins every single time. So I just felt like a guy that was consistent in doing his job. That's something I'm going to point out to the team today. Is I don't care about the result of the play is big, but more importantly to me is, are you winning your one-on-one? And I felt like he won every single one of his one-on-ones throughout the day, and so that's why I gave it to Kevin.
For fans who might have missed it, he's not a football lifer necessarily. The Kevin Doe story is interesting, isn't it? How he got to you?
Kevin Doe, basketball player, track guy. I think he was like a 10.6, 100-meter track guy. Only played 1 year of football. I think Fessy had found him going and playing basketball, and then just said, hey, if you go and try out for football or play football your senior year, I promise you that we'll get you at least a walk-on spot at BYU. And so sure enough, he goes there and, tries out for football senior year and just kind of figures things out. We bring him in as a walk-on, and now he's doing some great stuff. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that Ziggy Ansah story in a way. He just has 1 year on Ziggy compared to
late to the game.
Yeah, late to the game. But he's exceptional athlete, exceptional kid, works really hard, and I'm really proud of the way that he's progressed over the last couple of years.
All right, let's big picture this thing now. Everything's still in front of BYU. You know that. You've got 3 games to play. You're not going to worry about the 3rd game yet, but you know that you take it week by week and do your thing, and you've still got everything in your control.
Yeah, and that's that's what you always want as a team, is you want to be in control and not have to worry about other people, deciding your future or whatever outcome they have. So, we're in a great situation. We control our own destiny, and like I said before, this TCU team, they've been good. They've lost close games. To Arizona State, lost close game this last week to Iowa State.
Special teams turned the Iowa State game.
Yeah, and so I think they're a really good team. This quarterback is probably the best quarterback we'll face all year long as far as just throwing the football. They have a good run game. I know they're solid on defense. And so it's going to be a great challenge. And just over the years, TCU's always kind of given us trouble over the years. I go back and I think the last time we might have beat these guys was my senior year, 2007, Thursday night under the lights. I still remember that, one of the best memories of my playing career. But yeah, it's a really tough matchup for us, and we're going to have to play our best ball.
We'll talk a bit more about the Horned Frogs here in a minute, but we always play this game. If somebody told you at the start of the year, and then fill in the blank, but really, if you had to win 2 home games and go take on a Cincinnati team in November and find a way to get it, if someone said that was your task to get to the Big 12 title game, maybe even the playoff, you would have said, let's go.
100%. Yeah, I think we're in a great situation. Obviously you want to win that game on the road, top 10 matchup. That was something that you dream of those matchups as a coach, as a player. And luckily for us is that at the end of the day, everything's still in control for us, right? So we're happy that
you could get him in a rematch.
Yeah, and we could see him in a rematch.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest things in coaching is being able to not get too high on wins and not get too low on losses. And so we got to do a great job as coaches and a program and as players today of not getting too low and too down on this loss, learning from the mistakes, seeing some positives, because there's a lot of positives that we can still learn from, and then building on those things as the week goes on.
BYU now 8-1 on the season, 5-1 in the Big 12, and ranked 12th as the Cougs return home to take on the TCU Horned Frogs this Saturday evening at LaVell Edwards Stadium. We're looking ahead with BYU Special Teams Coordinator and Defensive Ends Coach Kelly Poppinga. This preview of the Horned Frogs is brought to you by Intermountain Health, the official medical provider for BYU athletics. Yeah, TCU losing at home this past weekend to Iowa State, 20-17, makes them 6-3 overall, 3-3 in the Big 12. So they're more or less out of the Big 12 title chase right now. It was a tough loss for them at home.
Yeah, tough loss, and they had it in hand. They were up 17-6 late in the game, and Iowa State goes down, scores a touchdown, and then they get a punt return that changes the game completely for a touchdown. They win the game 20-17, and this is a good football team. Watching these guys early in the year, I remember watching the game against Arizona State on TV thinking, man, these guys are super talented at receiver, got good running backs, their quarterback can sling it. Defensively, I thought they have a safety as good as any safety that I've seen in Bud Clark. So they got some guys, and they've always had good athletes, and they got good coaching, and obviously they played for a national championship a couple years ago, so it's going to be a challenge. It'll be fun.
You mentioned Josh Hoover, the quarterback, 6th in pass yards per game nationally, 16th in total offense.
Yeah, he can sling it, and his coming out party was against us 2 years ago. So it's
you didn't see him last year, but you got him in 23 at their place.
And that was his first game. I think he started, and he torched us. And so we got a little redemption. We got to play our game of football, and I think we're a way better team than we were 2 years ago. So it'll be I think it's a good matchup for both teams.
And you've hinted at it already, but there are messages you want your guys to receive loud and clear this afternoon, and some are positives as well.
Yeah. There's a bunch of positives that happen in that game, and so sometimes as a coach you want to go in there and just rip everybody because of the couple negative things that happen, but there are some positives that happen in that game. I thought there were some really good things done in our return game where we could have got some returns, and just different techniques and fundamentals that I'm going to point out to guys that I think guys were trying really hard to do what we coach them to do, and just the effort that they put forward. Those are things that are always important to continue to build that culture.
All right, Coach, good luck in prep for the Horned Frogs. We'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
All right, thanks.
All right, that's Coach Kelly Poppinga.